Hey, Pack. Yesterday's podcast, you had something to say about Cole Bishop.
Yeah, I'm a little bit out of breath from that game, so, let me roll the tape from yesterday's pod game. And so I think the Bills win if we can hold Etienne to under 100 yards, and if Cole Bishop can make some really big plays or pass. Yeah, so you heard it there. There was, someone who wasn't really a big fan of that. He questioned that, and, we're keeping receipts here. So, like I said yesterday, but if Bishop could make a splash play like he's been wont to do against marquee quarterbacks, we're gonna win the game, and he sealed it for us, Pat.
Coming to you from the great Southwest and Central New York, a brother and sister from the same mother and mister, Patrick Newell and Peg Newell, your hosts of Bill's Bloodline.
Sure did. Yeah, welcome to Bill's Bloodline. We're a little bit out of breath still. It's been about a half hour since the game ended. The Bills 27, the Jaguars 24. The season lives on for the Buffalo Bills. Hey, if you're new here, please consider subscribing.
You can find us on all of your favorite streaming services, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We're on all the socials, X, Instagram, Facebook. If you can't find us, just Google search us. That's probably the fastest way to find us. All those links will be in the show notes. Pat, my Apple Watch told me it started to buzz during the game that I was having a heart attack. And I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, your pulse
Yeah.
rate was above acceptable workout. Well,
Yeah.
you're at it was at workout level when you're sitting in a chair watching it. So
Yes. Yes, what a great game. On to one more weekend of football for the Bills. Yeah, what are you thinking about this game?
I was thinking of the history, and first thing that came to mind was the last, the last game that Jim Kelly played. You were probably just out of college. I think it was January '97. The last game he played was a loss to the Jaguars in the playoffs, and that ended not Josh, that ended Jim Kelly's career on a low note. Great start for the Jaguars, and we played him again the year we ended the drought. We lost that game in a mutter 10-3.
Mm, yeah.
um, so we had that working against us. We had not won a real playoff game since January '93 when we beat the Dolphins. It's been 32 years since winning a road game. Had never beaten the Jaguars. The Jaguars were the hottest team in the league. And like I said yesterday, I did not expect us to win, but I was pleasantly surprised and extremely happy. We're moving on, and the podcast lives on for at least one more week.
Yeah, thank heavens. I was cautiously optimistic going into it, and we were texting a little bit today. I'm like, my head was telling me one thing, but my heart was telling me another. Is it really any given Sunday for football? And so, my heart kind of breaks for the Jags because I really, really wanted to see them, do something and go to their first Super Bowl. And of course, our beloved Josh, your son-in-law, I'm so saddened for him, but I know he's going to be rooting for the Bills just as hard as he was rooting for the Jags today for us next week. Great, great
Yeah.
young man. And, outstanding team. All the credit goes to them. That was a battle. Everyone predicted it was going to be a battle. Vegas went back and forth on the line all week.
Yeah, neither team seized control in that one. On the stretch, 4 lead changes in the fourth quarter. Josh throws for over 100 yards in the last quarter. He plays like Josh Allen can play. That was the thing that kind of feels gratifying because of all the pressure that he was under. I talked about it yesterday. We're going to win as a team. We're going to lose as a team. But people wanted to throw it on Josh Peck, and he probably shoved it in their face. I mean, he got hurt 3 times in that game. He lost Gabe Davis. Keon Coleman has to make a catch, who hasn't even played only once in the previous 4 weeks. He got it done with probably a bottom of the NFL receiving core, and we're living to play another day.
Yeah, he's a special player, Josh Allen. Heart goes out to Gabe Davis. It didn't look
I
good.
didn't.
This could be career ending for him. And it looks like he injured that leg that was repaired once with the ACL. So, hopefully praying for Gabe Davis. He's a great leader, a great teammate, great character guy, and has had a good career. So praying for the best outcome for him. But back to what you said, like what an exciting game with 4 lead changes, 28 points scored in the fourth quarter. Like Stefan says from SNL, this game had everything, all the drama you would want, in a game. And so glad we came out on top.
Yeah, there was some concern when we couldn't run the ball. I know we both expressed frustration with our continuous, dedication to running the ball. Joe Brady, but in a way it worked out because it helped with the play action. They had to respect play action because we stuck with the running game. We had 26 runs in the game. We only gained 79 yards. If I'm doing my math, that's barely 3 yards a carry, far below our season averages, roughly half of what we normally get in a game. And James Cook was well under his season average, but the 3 hard yards. But if you look at it, Peg, those little bubble screens that we threw that were down the line to Shakir, he caught 12 passes today, but at least 8 of them were, I would say, extensions of the run game.
Right.
He just threw it out there. He gained 4 or 5 yards, put us in a good position on second down.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal shake and baker. Like those plays haven't always worked. And I do think there was a degree of luck today. And, he had that wonderful spin to get like 3 or 4 more yards. Yeah. And he's just a really, really special player. And when they throw that out there, they're relying on his playmaking ability. It's kind of like when everybody clears out for the point guard and you just hope your best player just runs and gets you what you need. And today those little screens worked out a little better than they have in the past. And maybe it is because of that commitment to the run, that play action, that maybe opened those up a little bit more. And all we needed, Kincaid had a great catch. Coleman had his catch for 36 yards. Knox was in there with a catch. And of course, Cooks caught it when it counted, the most when we really needed him to. He's a fun player to watch when he's got his hands on the ball, when he's able to catch the ball.
Okay, so folks, if you didn't watch the game, go back and take a look at that catch toward the end of the first half. Josh finds Cooks over the middle. It was easily a 20-yard gain or more around the 20-yard line, and he didn't catch it clean, Peg, I don't think, but I didn't see clear evidence to overturn it. I said to you in a text, that's a 50-50 call, I think. Yeah. What did you think at that point?
I feel like maybe the NFL had an angle that we didn't see on TV, because from the angle we were watching, you could see that the ball moved a little bit, but you could still see that his hand was underneath it. But it did look like a 50-50 call from my angle, and, depends on your allegiance.
Too close to call. Because I was a reporter for so long, even when I'm covering my high school team, which happened probably thousands of times, I try to look at everything as objectively as possible and not wear those rose-colored glasses for the Bills. And even with that, I looked at it. I was just like, I can see him going either way, but what they say is it has to be clear evidence that it's an overturn. That I didn't see clear evidence. I just didn't.
Yeah.
And I was worried that took points off the board for us. So I was really worried that was going to come back to bite us. But on the other hand, if you look at it, we won a challenge later on. Trevor dove for the ball, and I'm just sitting there, Peg, and I'm screaming at McDermott, throw the damn bag. That was obvious he was short. He was short by a yard. And I was like, what are you waiting for? And it's like, they want to dramatize this. He's holding it. He's like, he's doing like, he's juggling in his hand like this. And then whoop, throws it. I'm like, come on. That was so obvious. What are you waiting for? I mean, at that point, that was I don't usually yell at the TV.
Right.
My wife gets nervous when I start yelling because I'm usually super quiet.
Yeah.
And I was yelling at McDermott, and I used some words we can't use here. What bothered me on that is that it went to the commercial when the commercials are like 2 minutes long, and they come back and I don't, maybe you heard this. I didn't hear the referee call it as an overturn. I just heard the broadcast crew saying it was overturned. So I never actually heard, did you ever hear the referees saying that the runner was down by contact
No.
short of the line to gain. I never heard that. I
Nope.
just came back from commercial. Oh, it's been reversed. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Never heard it. It's some that must have been an issue with the broadcast crew or something. But speaking of Bills colored glasses, I was calling pass interference on one against the Bills, and you'll have to help me because your memory is sharper than mine is in terms of visual stuff. But
Yeah.
Taron Johnson, Jags are driving.
Yeah, I saw
And
that one.
yeah, that seemed like was that in the third quarter? It was in the third quarter.
Yeah.
It seemed like
He was,
that he's
yeah,
smothering him.
he was, but the throw was underthrown by like 7 yards.
Okay.
It was not catchable
Okay.
from where he was. So while it might have been, that's the key with this pass interference. It's not pass interference if it's not a catchable ball.
Right.
So say
Right.
he had thrown that 10 yards out of bounds. Well, the pass interference is irrelevant because the ball
Right.
wasn't catchable anyway.
Right.
So I don't know if you remember that, but Bosa was applying huge pressure on him and he wasn't able to get enough on it. And the
Yeah.
ball landed well short of him. He
Yeah.
could, even if he fired back on the ball, there's no way he would have caught that.
Yeah.
So
That's
I,
probably explains it.
I
Yeah.
think the refs, it, pass interference was probably, yeah, I'm glad they didn't call it.
Right.
You are listening to Bill's Bloodline.
Of all the things that happened today, what is a thing or two that stands out that you liked the most?
So, I mean, obviously the biggest play I liked was the touchdown, non-touchdown, which I have called, it's no longer the tush push when you push your quarterback 10, 11 yards almost to the line. I've decided to call it the pile drive, Pat, instead of the tush push, talking about imposing your will with physicality. So that was one of my favorite moments in plays. But I really liked that Allen seemed to play within himself, 28 for 35. 273 yards passing, as you mentioned, I think. No interceptions. I liked that. And the other thing that I really, really liked was not worrying when the place kicker stepped up to kick important field goals. Field goals that mattered more than any other field goals during the regular season. And Prater with a achy quad gets up there and hits a 50-yarder, right?
That was
And
after a
so
penalty too, and it was forced back 5 yards.
yes.
So we couldn't get. We tried to call timeout, but we had a delay of game, so the 45-yarder became a 50-yarder, and he hit it, and it started like pretty close to the crossbar, but it never moved. It just stayed there.
Yeah. And
And
then
he had that 5-yard clearance too. It was not like
yes.
a one that just squeezed over the bars. He had five. I think he's got 55 yards in him.
Yeah. And then just to make things interesting, that extra point that was like like a slice on the golf course,
That was like a line
Phew.
drive slice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it went in.
But
Hey, we'll take it.
yeah, he looked like he landed on someone and then rolled into the end zone. That's maybe why they initially thought it was a touchdown. One of
Yeah.
those ones where you roll over the guy and score. I think James Cook had one of those touchdowns, maybe 2 or 3 weeks
Yeah.
ago, where he landed on the guy and kind of rolled into the end zone. That's what I thought
Yeah.
that they were calling initially, but I was glad that he got that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was. So yeah, you want to throw it at me? I
Yes,
have
yeah,
like
sure. So, the defense made plays when they needed to make plays. Shaq Thompson had a good game, kind of an unsung hero there. And I was really happy to see at least Frank Gore get out there and get his first NFL game, especially a postseason game under his belt with a catch. So that was nice to see. But what are some of your thoughts about things that you like today?
yeah, I was happy to see the uh, the variant of weapons that we used today. Keon Coleman had a 36-yard play. Brandon Cooks had a 30-plus-yard reception. Dalton Kincaid and I think it's Dawson Knox. They both had 15 to 20-yard plays. Big chunk plays coming from multiple players. And even Khalil Shakir, when he wasn't doing bubble screens, caught like a 15 or 20-yarder. So we had 4 or 5 guys catch 15 to 20-yard passes or more, which kind of debunks the fact that we can't throw the ball down the field to anyone because no one can get open.
Right.
Clearly, guys can get open. And I also like the fact that people thought that we could not run the ball against the Jaguars, that was going to be our downfall. We showed we can win in multiple ways. We won with 2 or 3 timely defensive plays. We got that defensive stop when they're outside the 10. We got those 2 interceptions, and we got 4 or 5 big pass plays to supplement the grinding out running game that we had. And of course, when we get what I like the most is the fact that one of the most surefire plays outside the Jalen Hurts tush push is the Josh Allen tush push.
Right.
And I I think the success rate has got to be around 90%. And then when it's inside 6 inches, it's probably 100%
Yeah.
because he's always going to get at least 6 inches so um, that's, and the last thing that I am most pleased about is the fact that we ended this 32 season drought of road playoff losses. We ended that streak. And secondly, and this is a subtext to that, is that we have now stopped 2 long winning streaks this year. The Patriots had a 10-game winning streak. We ended that one. The
Yeah.
Jaguars had an 8-game winning streak, and we ended that one and their season.
Yeah. I hope if we meet the Patriots again, we end their season.
Yeah, I wouldn't bother me if the Chargers end their
Yeah.
season tonight. So, Peg, what did you? I'm sure there's some frustrating moments today that you're scratching your head.
Yeah.
What are
Yeah.
things that kind of disappointed you? I mean, we got to win, and we're extremely happy. But
Yes.
we have to be
Yes.
critically make a critical
Yeah.
analysis of us as a fan. What did you
Yeah.
not like today?
I'll be brief on this one, Pat, is that yesterday we talked about, is there's this hidden cache of plays? Is there a special hidden track, if you will, in the playbook, an appendix, something that is a little bit different? And from what we saw today, in terms of throwing a wrinkle into the playbook, having some looks we haven't seen before, and that question was answered today. We did not see anything different from what we've seen all year. We're going to move forward, potentially facing the Texans. Of course, we don't know. But that defense, they are beastly. And it's going to be another game like today where they may shut down James Cook. And then what do we do? So I'm just hoping he can, draw some things up that are some different looks and surprise the opponents. But that's about as brief as I could be on that. Can't be too mad. We won. On to the
Yeah, I'm
next.
not. Yeah, and for me, there's a couple things. One is the injuries. It looks like we lost Gabe Davis for the season. I'm not expecting him to come back. And Jordan Poyer got hurt again with the hamstring, the same hamstring. I think that sidelined him for a couple weeks. We put Josh Palmer on the IR, Curtis Samuels on the IR. We're kind of thin at safety and at receiver, so that's one thing that I did not like is the injuries. And secondly, I was very thankful that Jacksonville did not continuously stick with the run game. They seemed to forget about it on some drives because when they committed to it on those outside tosses, man, they were finding all kinds of room on the running game. But has been the case many times this year, even in games when we've been susceptible to the run and given up a lot of yards. We still ended up winning the game. It wasn't the X factor that caused us to lose the game. So
Meh.
didn't like the run defense. We got by without it. Hated the injuries because you can't replace a Jordan Poyer. You can't replace a Gabe Davis with his knowledge of the offense, his leadership, his blocking, his key catches.
Right.
So we're going to have to rely on somebody who's on the practice squad or sign someone to fill a spot.
Yeah.
So that's concerning going into next week. Jordan Hancock is probably going to have to step up at safety a little bit more. They're going to have to move Cam Lewis over there with Jordan Poyer. We don't know what's going to happen with him. This hamstring is if you re-aggravated it, hamstrings it's a rest thing. You can treat it all you want. I don't know if you ever pulled a hamstring. It's 2-3 weeks usually.
Yeah. Who do you think, in terms of, is that asking you to make predictions, but who do you think the Bills could potentially have next, Pat? We've got a few more games to be played.
But
okay.
If seeds play out the way they are right now, we're going to go to Denver next week. And I'm not really as worried about them as I was about Jacksonville because Jacksonville's offense is potent and we snuck by them barely.
Yeah. When I was thinking about what we said yesterday, that I thought that the running game would be roughly the same, but our pass defense was what really helped us because we made the key plays when we needed to put the pressure. Although we only had one sack with Rousseau today, but we put enough pressure on Lawrence, good coverage in certain areas, just enough to get those drops, get those missed catches, or bad throws, just enough today, just to get by. And that seems to be our theme for the season.
And, Lawrence put the ball in harm's way a little bit today. There was more than one tip that could have been picked off.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of one earlier in the game you talked about. Cole Bishop almost had an interception.
Yes.
Trey Roy was in position. He had two great pass breakups in a row on the same drive.
Yeah.
One, he knocked it out of Brenton Strange's hand. And I think it was Strange again near the goal line where he came across and looked like he was going to
Yes.
two-handed interception, but he just knocked it away.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do a shout out for Trey White. I mean,
Yes. He
he was
played
all but
great
gone.
today.
He
Yeah.
had three. I think he had his hand in on that last interception too.
He
Three
did.
incredible pass breakups.
Yeah.
You know, you thought that he'd lost his athleticism, but he still has that know-how, and it looks like he's getting some of that athleticism back because
Yeah.
no one burned him deep today.
Nope. Nope. And they're going to get theirs. They're having Jacoby Myers, like incredible wide receiving core and a fantastic quarterback. So they're going to get some. And that one where he was able, just if he had one more step, that would have been a pick six easily. Just one more step or a half
Cool.
a step.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
So,
Yeah, that's that it's on to wherever we're Road Warriors, Peg.
yes. Yeah.
I don't recall the Bills. This could be a first. The Bills winning 2 road games in the postseason, but if we're
Stranger
going to move
things.
on, yeah, stranger things have happened, and if we're going to get it done this year, we're going to have to set a new standard for the Bills.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and so, anyway, that's
You just never
I
know.
think you never know, and I'm just happy. I can exhale. I've worn this sweatshirt to the several podcasts, and I've worn it the last two or three victories that we had, coming off victories. So I think I'm just going to do a little
The lucky.
superstitious.
Yeah.
Just wear this every game the rest of the way. Hopefully we can win this one.
That
But
sounds
anyway,
good.
Bills 27-24 win over the
Yeah.
Jacksonville Jaguars, sending the Jaguars season. The Jaguars came in as hot stuff, 8 wins in a row.
Yeah.
But they're going to have to figure out what they're going to do next year. And by the way, I did, before we got on here, I was looking at a Jags recap, and it made me laugh because just about like every other analyst that is like a homer, right?
Mhm.
They're complaining about the things that they didn't do right.
Yes.
All the things that they could have done better.
Yeah.
And I said,
yeah.
that's so par for the course, because if we had lost this game, we would have spent like probably 20 minutes talking about, if we only did this, if we only did that.
Right. Right.
But
It
thankfully,
feels
we don't
good to
have
not complain.
make excuses. Yeah.
Yeah,
We're
make
not going to make
excuses.
any excuses
Yeah.
for winning a football game.
Yeah. It also makes me, I'm quite satisfied to sort of rub it in a little bit with the NFL.com guys, who all 5 said that the Jags were going to win. Mike Florio from Pro Football Talk, I mentioned this yesterday on the pod.
Yeah.
Pretty much there are only a handful of guys from the big networks and sports shows who picked the Bills to win. And most of whom were people who were affiliated with the Bills, like the Bills Bloodline guys, Locked On Bills guys, and then, Dan Orlovsky from ESPN, he loves the Bills. And,
He loves Josh Allen.
He loves Josh Allen. And of course, he's always going to put his money on Josh. And so it feels good to kind of, say, ha, told you so. They could win. And they did.
Yeah, I couldn't feel any better. I told you this before, that I think if you just look at talent, overall talent, and what your general feeling is about the Buffalo Bills, I don't feel like this team is on the same level as that 21 team that lost to 13 seconds to the Chiefs and had that perfect game, 7 touchdowns and 7 drives against the Patriots. I'm not feeling that, but sometimes I've heard this, that great things happen when you least expect it. So I'm just going to hold on to that thought, going into next week.
Yeah. It's an unusual year in the NFL, I think, too. So, we'll hold on to that. And then typically Pat and I conclude our regular podcast with a shout out to a worthy cause or someone who's important to us or someone who's doing good in their community. And actually, just today, I want to shout out my student, Jack, and I won't say his last name, but Jack is a wonderful student and young man with a bright future. And he and his family, his dad, they are diehard Bills fans. And today, Jack was sending me some messages through our school email, the appropriate channels. And
Yes.
the kids are all right. The next generation, there are some pretty savvy Bills fans out there who know the game. And so maybe Jack and his dad will come on the podcast either maybe for our next one or next year. And we can talk about their relationship as father and son, the relationship to the Bills, how they became super fans like us, Pat. But Jack's a great kid. And, kids like Jack, the kids are all right out there. Future is bright.
Yeah, that's great to hear. And I get so much love out here when I wear my Bills stuff to the gym or
Yeah.
wherever I go, on the golf course. There's so many Go Bills, and I'm in Albuquerque, New Mexico. You would not expect that to be the hotbed for Buffalo Bills fandom,
Yeah.
but they are everywhere. And even people that aren't big fans of the Bills, they're fans of the Bills story, their history, and Josh Allen.
Yep.
They are a team. I'm going to go out there on a limb. They are the unsung America's team because it's such a blue collar town. Everybody identifies with Bills Mafia.
Yeah.
Josh Allen, everything that goes with the Bills.
Big hearts.
Big hearts. The community loves its team.
So thank you, everybody, for listening. If you want to hear more, check us out. Please subscribe, like. We're on Instagram, Facebook, X, YouTube, you name it. We're out there. Your favorite streaming services, Apple, Spotify, et cetera, et cetera. So with that, Pat.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us today. The Bills 27, the Jaguars 24. So from our family to the Bills Mafia family and everybody else, we'll see you here next week on Bills Bloodline. Go Bills.